Guys, it's been some time since I last did a video game review here on the channel. My last review, which was several years ago now, was for Resident Evil 4, and I was never particularly proud of that review. There was a lot of things I wish I had known at the time. I hadn't quite developed my unique voice at that point, and so that's just been something that I've been afraid to get into, but now that I know my own voice and I've had plenty of years of practice here on YouTube, I think it's now time to talk about some video games. So anyway, let's get started and talk about Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy. Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy was released in 2001 and is celebrating its 10-year anniversary this year. It was created by series creator Naughty Dog, who's known, of course, for making the Uncharted series, The Last of Us, and Crash Bandicoot. It follows the story of Jak and Daxter as they come across some dark eco, and Daxter falls into this pit of dark eco and comes out the other side as an ottsel, a combination between an otter and a weasel. And so Jak and Daxter must journey across the known world to find a wizard that will help turn Daxter back to normal. Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy is a 3D platformer adventure game set in a fantastical fantasy world, kind of inspired by Disney films. In fact, I think the art style in particular is a lot like Disney. And the majority of your time spent in this game will be collecting things, traversing an open world, and fighting a couple of bosses along the way and interacting with NPCs. I was really surprised playing this game. I didn't play the Jak and Daxter games when they originally were released. I remember seeing posters and the game Jak 3, but I never really got into the series and didn't know where it started from and what exactly it was. But now playing this first game, I kind of know what this world is about. Of course, I know the later games get a lot different, but for the most part, guys, I really enjoyed this game. I really like playing collectathons, whether it's like Super Mario Galaxy, or Mario 64, or stuff like Banjo-Kazooie. Those games are just a lot of fun, and this is a collectathon like those previous games, but it does a lot to make it a little bit different. It has a unique and interesting setting with a fantasy element, with magic and wizards, and just a lot of cool stuff going on here, and that is definitely, for me, the best part of the game, which is the world building, in a way. I love the look of this world. It's vibrant and colorful. The colors just pop right off the screen. It is a beautiful looking PS2 game. For 2001, this game looks fantastic still to this day, and I absolutely love it. But what you will be mostly doing throughout this game is collecting a lot of things. There are precursor orbs, power cells, and scout flies that you will be collecting throughout your entire journey, and you basically are in this open world that is split off into sections that you can then visit and figure out stuff along the way to go back here and do this task that you couldn't do before. And it's honestly a lot of fun to do. There's something just a lot of fun and therapeutic about collecting things, and I think that's what this game does really well. It also populates its world with very interesting, fun, and kooky characters in the form of NPCs, as well as characters that are throughout the game, and even the main characters themselves, Jak and Daxter. Daxter in particular having the most character because he's the only character that talks. Jak is a silent protagonist during this, but he's also a lot of fun nonetheless. But Daxter is really the heart of this game. His comedy in particular is really on point. I love specifically his comedy when Jak dies, and he's talking to Jak about, you know, not to leave him and everything. There's a lot of great stuff like that. Although, I did end up seeing that screen quite a bit because I did die quite a bit in this game, despite the game not really being that difficult. And I think that's what I'm going to be talking about next, is the controls with this game. So basically, this game is, of course, a 3D platformer. You've got your basic jump, double jump. You have your attacks, such as a long attack, a spin attack, and all those different things. And I will say my biggest criticism of this game are the controls. For one, the camera is kind of wonky and it's hard to get used to, but eventually I did figure it out. You have to go left to go right, basically. And I looked through the menus and there was no way to really change the camera control, so you just kind of had to adapt to it. But my biggest complaint has to be with the jumping. This is a pitiful jump. Your first jump is barely a jump at all, and then your double jump feels like a regular jump, and because of the stiffness of it, that makes traversing the world, jumping from place to place, extremely difficult. You have to jump and make sure you make it. There are other ways to get around this, such as a lunging jump that you can perform, but I didn't figure this out until I did it by accident. And so that was kind of annoying. The controls are difficult in that way, and it made some of the stuff that should have been really easy, such as the collecting, kind of annoying to get through. I also found that Jak kind of runs a little bit too slow at times. There was also moments where you're in water and I wish you could just run a little bit faster, and that was just some little annoyances that, stopped me from having 100% enjoyment with this, even though I was enjoying every bit of this game. Other gameplay mechanics that you will be introduced to is also the magic in this world known as eco. You have your blue eco, your red eco, and your yellow eco, and these different types of eco perform different types of spells, such as electricity, fireballs, as well as just being able to punch things really well. And you'll be using this off and on throughout the world, and it is a lot of fun. I always enjoyed finding these and being able to unlock secrets or just being able to get rid of enemies very quickly. It was a lot of fun in that respect. The bosses, although very few, there's only like 3 in the entire game, they are still a lot of fun and very clever to try to figure out how they work, and it's a lot of trial and error, but it was ultimately a lot of fun, and I wish that there were more bosses in the game because I enjoyed them. They were like figuring out a puzzle on its own. It reminded me a lot of, bosses that I've seen before, such as in the Mario games, and they were very quickly taken care of. However, I will say that the final boss in particular is kind of annoying, not because he's that difficult or anything, but once you beat him, there's a cutscene, and then it puts you back into the game, and I had no clue as to what to do. I would jump aimlessly, and then I would just blow up, and I'd have to restart the fight all over again. It wasn't until I just stood there for a while and saw something happened that I hadn't seen before that I finally figured it out and just kind of beat the game by accident. That was kind of frustrating, especially in the very end of the game. Also, you get a lot of mini games that really help get rid of a lot of the monotony of collecting things. You get to go fishing, you get to shoot things really well. There's also moments where you're on a ship and you're kind of zooming through pits of lava, and that stuff really breaks up the monotony of the game, and they're also a lot of fun. I really loved those lava sections in particular. There was just something fun about traversing the world in that way. But overall, guys, this is a really solid game. I love the characters, I love the world itself, the colors in particular. The graphics, even though for 2001, are very well done. This is a beautiful looking game, and its problems that I have with it really do kind of end up in the background because I ended up loving this game so much. Even with some of its annoying parts, I never stopped enjoying and loving this game, and it made me collect every single thing in this game, and I was really proud of myself for getting literally everything and having that secret ending, and I can't wait to continue with this series. I love this game, and I know that the next two games are not collectathons, so that will be a very interesting time getting introduced to a different way of playing this series, but I honestly can't wait. So anyway, guys, with all that said, I'm going to give Jak and Daxter the Precursor Legacy an 8 out of 10. So anyway, guys, I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I will be doing a lot more video game reviews in the future, especially if this does really well or if people just really like what I've done here. But thank you guys once again for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next review.